Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another weekly live. My name is Laken, and I go live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern to answer any questions you have about goals, planning, life. I'm excited to hang out today, although I'm going to be honest, I am already sweating. This sweatshirt was a bad idea. It's not even like a full sweatshirt. It has like this crossover piece. It's a maternity sweatshirt. And it's not even a full sweatshirt, but I am already sweating. So good thing I have my handy dandy iced coffee, which is just the why do I always forget the name of the brand? Stock cold brew. My grocery store finally started carrying the teal one again, which is the one that I like. I finally looked at the labels, which is the bold, unsweetened bold. I like it. They weren't carrying it, and so I was having to get the extra bold because it was the only unsweetened flavor that they had, and it was just too strong. My pregnancy heartburn couldn't deal. So I'm glad to be back with my regular cold brew. Let's kick it off with our first question that we always start with. What are you drinking? I shared my coffee recipe is not the right word. It's cold brew and half and half. It's not that complicated. But what are you drinking while we're hanging out today? If you are here live and if you are part of the replay fam, I would love to hear from you down in the comments. What are you drinking while you are catching the replay? Hello, everybody. Extreme chocolate milkshake. Debbie, that sounds delicious. I want to know what makes it extreme. A key decaf over there. You're so much closer to bed than the rest of us. Just finished my Dr. Pepper zero sugar, not a coffee drinker. I have lots of friends, Nikki, that are not coffee drinkers. I feel that. And now you're drinking water. I also have my water handy. I switched over to this cup. Instead of my like white one that says small progress, is still progress, because this is the phrase that I need right now. So I switched over once because I left that cup at my mom's, and so I had to switch. And then I was using this one and was like, yeah, I need that right now. Drinking Diet Wild Cherry Pepsi. Ice cold water with a straw. I love those of you being specific. We had a whole conversation one week about, first off, always drinking your water the way that you like to drink it. So that is the best way to drink water. Water is amazing and very important to a lot of your goals, but you got to drink it the way you want it. So water is better than no water. So whether you like it cold or room temperature, whether you like it with a straw, without a straw, whether you like it with flavoring, without a flavoring, and bubbly and non-bubbly. I was like, there's one more. There's 4 categories. That's not just that's just a me thing that I like to talk about, is like, drink your water the way you want to drink it. Water, caramel chocolate milkshake. Oh my God, so many milkshakes. Toffee coffee with brown butter, chocolate chip cookie creamer. Melissa, I had to read that very slowly. That sounds amazing. Oh my God, that sounds so good. Cold coffee and an open Rockstar energy drink. It depends on what room I'm in as to what I'm drinking. That is hilarious. I love that. Diet Coke, a yummy latte, and a green juice. Nikki, the phrase that you're using on the cup you're using right now is the current wallpaper on my phone. Yeah, if you are a member of the community and you didn't catch my post from, I think it was last week sometime, I uploaded all of the quotes that I've created as backgrounds for your wallpapers for your phone. So you could upload the one that you need. Maybe that's what I should do too, is get that one uploaded to my phone as well. I feel like I need it everywhere right now. That's like my big reminder. But if you didn't see that, oh my gosh, now I have hiccups. All right, let's move in to the wins. What is one small win that you want to share from this week, from last week? What is one thing that you accomplished, that you checked off your list, that you are proud of? Let's celebrate that small progress that you are making. If you're here live, let us know in the chat. And if you are part of the replay fam, let us know in the comments as well. I love going back and rereading your wins when I go through the comments. Ikea, I need a better water bottle. I need a straw, but it also needs to hold 2 liters. That's a lot. Is it just that you don't want to have to deal with filling it back up? I used to use like a giant water bottle, right? I went through the phase of like that giant, even more than that. Like it was a whole gallon of water. Carrying that around, like it was ridiculous. So I would rather have to fill this up multiple times to hit my water goal than to have to carry some big giant water bottle. That is a large water bottle. That's large, 2 liters. Oh my goodness. You made the Kanban board. I know, I saw your post in the Facebook group. I love it. I love that you're starting small with just a couple sticky notes, and it will, I'm sure, build out as you figure out what works for your family. I love that. Yes, because otherwise I forget to fill it up. Okay, fine. That's fair. Figuring out how to optimize my my AM and PM routines. Thanks for helping me talk that through. Yes, everybody is different. And sometimes it just takes another brain. I was talking to somebody one-on-one the other day, and she was just like, that seems so obvious. And I was like, I get it. And when I tell you after the fact, you're like, should have been able to figure that out on my own. And like, you shouldn't, because you have so much going on. Your brain is so full of so many things. And sometimes it just takes another brain to step back and look at the big picture and be like, here's the solution, or here's a solution to try. Created a useful 6-page handout to help members and their parents to be prepared to show at the state fair. That's amazing. Our car has arrived and we'll be picking it up Saturday. That is so exciting, Melissa. And you have a new client. Congrats. The Stanley tumblers now have one that is 64 ounces and they have a straw. Yeah, I've heard lots of good things about the Stanley tumblers. Maybe I need to get one and slap a sticker on it so that I have like options when I need a different phrase. But if anybody knows of I know YouTube doesn't love the phrase dupe. I recently heard this. Or you're not supposed to use the word dupe when you're talking about when you're doing affiliate links, supposedly. But if anybody has any recommendations for like the same, so let me also so the thing about the Stanley tumblers, a lot of people, what they love about them, and y'all can correct me because I don't have one, is that they fit in a car. Like it is small. It's big enough that it holds a lot of water, holds a lot of liquid, whatever it is. But they go smaller at the bottom so you can fit into a car. That's not a need for me. I don't have a car. I don't need my cup to fit into my car. But I think I would like the handle. That seems like a useful feature. So any other water bottle recommendations? I'm here for it. I grew a sourdough starter and baking my first 2 loaves of bread. That is amazing. I love that. Unpacked my books and got them put on shelves. Saw Hamilton in the theater. Oh, Sam and I were just talking about it. It's coming back to Chicago. It's been here multiple times. And he actually has somebody he knows in the cast. And he's like, we should go see it again. And I'm like, do we really need to see it again? Do we really need to pay to see it again? So we're going to see. We're going to play it by ear. It opens, I think, like September 15th. So we won't go at the beginning. So maybe by the time they've been open for a bit, maybe prices drop a little bit. Maybe we will go see it again. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't, like, seeing things in Chicago, I've only ever bought just bought tickets in advance. Whereas in New York, I know there are lots of ways to get discounted tickets last minute. And I know how to like work those systems. I need to figure that out for Chicago and see if we can maneuver that. Oops. On Saturday, I meal prepped breakfast for the week and 3 suppers. That is amazing. Meal prepping is always so helpful. Back in the gym, Lisa Marie, great job. Hopefully it helps that you have all that time back in your life after your commute change. I love my hydro jugs for water. Regular is 73 ounces. Whew, holy moly. That is a lot. I don't necessarily need something that big. My more important features for a water cup, if you're curious, is I needed to keep it super duper cold. And to be honest, this yellow one does not do as good of a job. I don't know what brand this is. This I got from like an event. It had the event name under this. I still have my sticker on top of it. Does not do as good a job as my white one. But keeping things cold, keeping my ice is really important to me. Obviously it has to have a straw. I don't necessarily need the straw to fold down because I'm not taking it anywhere other than at home. Although eventually I have said I want a version like that like has a straw that folds down for travel. Because when I take something like this, when I'm traveling, or even my cup, it is kind of a pain. So the simple modern cups. Okay, Ashley, I'm gonna have to look into that. Simple modern cups. All right. Sounds like that's the move. You will look into Stanley and Hydro Jug. However, I prefer water bottles without handles. Interesting. Everybody's different. Everybody has different preferences. A key, I'm also not sure what you're able to get without paying, some astronomical shipping fee too. So I don't know what that looks like. That was fun. We talked, I loved hearing about your wins, but also a little conversation about water jugs and cups. I don't have any announcements for you this week. I got nothing. This is just your time. Whatever you want to chat about, I am here, excited to chat. As always, you're welcome to ask any questions that you want to ask. If it is about your individual goals, something that you are specifically struggling with, please ask it. Even if you feel like I don't want to ask a question because I don't want like other people won't care about my goals. I promise you, other people want to hear and they will benefit from the answer as well. You're also welcome to ask questions about me, my goals, something that I've shared in a video that you want me to elaborate on, as well as if you have just a topic that you want to talk about and you don't know how to phrase it into a question, you can always just put topic, whatever the topic is, and we will chat about said topic. This is your time to hang out. I have been thinking a little bit. I have no plan, so don't ask. You can ask, but I don't have an answer for you about what 2024 is going to look like in terms of YouTube, in terms of the number of videos, in terms of the types of videos. I have lots of thoughts, ideas, things I might want to change, implement, etc. I love these lives. They make me very happy. But then I've also been thinking, do I have a topic for them? Y'all know I love Sarah Cannon. I feel like this is like the third or fourth live in a row where I'm going to end up linking her channel because I adore her. And September, we're getting close. We have a couple weeks until HB90 is open again, if you've been interested. Anyways, she has 2 YouTube channels. She has one that is Heart Breathings, which is all of her productivity and planning, etc. That is the one I typically reference. She also has another YouTube channel that is her author brand, and things are a little bit more, it's a little bit more personal over there. It's like her personality. And she does a weekly chat over there. And she always has stuff planned for it, like a topic planned, a haul that she's going to share, and things like that. So I've been thinking about potentially, I just want to be Sarah when I grow up. Especially like seeing her with her kids and her dream house. I just recently rewatched her house tour because I was just like, oh, just so many things. I adore her. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, maybe making some plans for lives in the new year instead of just having it be a free for all, but always leaving time for Q&A. So we'll see. Something I've been thinking about. Happy to hear your thoughts, whether you're here live or watching the replay. If you have any thoughts, suggestions, any of those things, I'm here for it. The one thing that I'm just going to say right away before I jump into some of the comments that came in, moving the time of the live is not on the table, just FYI. I will still be working in the evenings for the community and one-on-one clients as needed, but the lives will still stay within daytime hours. Okay, let's go back. I have a 50-ounce from Amazon. It's a big one, but keeps it cold for a long time. Comes with a straw and a handle. I'll send you the link for it. Thanks, Melissa. I've also been thinking about, I've been watching a lot of like what's in my hospital bag videos, and somebody was saying to bring as big of a cup as you can to the hospital so that you're not asking somebody, especially once you're like not getting out of the bed, you're not asking somebody to refill it every, however frequently. We have Amazon Sweden, so some things are definitely available. Okay, awesome. Oh no, Emily, I got diagnosed with a sprained ankle. Walking is difficult, painful. How to get things done or pivot goals. I've been there. Totally been there. So the first things first is that it's your foot. It is not your entire body. It is not your brain. It is not your arms. It is not your hands. Like getting over, I was here. I've been there. I thought it was a sprained ankle and turns out it was actually a fractured bone, but you still have a lot of capabilities. That said, you are going to have to pivot. And knowing you and knowing what your goals are, there are goals that are going to have to change that you are not going to be able to do. Your walking goals don't exist anymore, right? Like they're temporarily on hold. Some of your decluttering goals might be on hold. Some of them you might still be able to tackle. It's really going to depend. So what I would encourage you to do is when you're in a positive state of mind is to sit down and go through your list of goals and make a separate list of the things you can do while you are healing. What can you do? Don't focus on what you can't do. Focus on what you can do. What are the steps that you can still focus on while you are healing your foot? And then take it 1 week at a time. Set goals 1 week at a time. When you're healing from something like this, it can be so hard to not get frustrated with like the timeline, because not only is it typically longer than you want it to be, but it's usually unknown. Like you don't know what it's like. 1 week you go to the doctor and they're like, oh, everything's better. Like you're good to go. And some of it is doctor recommendations and some of it is just your pain levels, right? So focus, make the list of what you can do. And then 1 week at a time, you pick your action steps, you pick what you're focusing on each week as you're going through it. Oh my gosh, Michelle. Yes. Everyone is definitely different. You're not an ice cold water person. Neither is my mom. And I hate drinking out of metal. I also hate drinking out of metal. I'm here for reusable straws, but they always have to be plastic for me. How do you suggest setting goals for someone who has a disability? That means you may not be able to do much for quite a long time, but want to work towards that are bigger when feeling well. Well, Nikki, some of the advice I just gave Emily could definitely apply as well, is focusing on action steps that you can do. And mentally, that can be hard, which is why the advice I gave her was to do it when she's mentally in a good state of mind. But focusing on what are the steps? Sorry about itch, my eyeball. Not really my eye, but like my lash line. Focusing on what you can do and making your list of action steps and options, what you can do. And then also planning on a shorter time frame. I gave the suggestion to Emily to do it weekly. Maybe for you it's daily, maybe it's half a day, right? Maybe it's like half a day at a time. You're planning, what are the steps I'm going to focus on for this, knowing what I know about my energy levels right now, and planning on a shorter time frame. I think also, kind of the piece of your question that may not be able to do much for quite a long time, but want to work towards things when you're feeling well. I'm not sure if you mean like there's going to be a stretch that you know how long it's going to be, or you don't know how long it's going to be. Once again, if you don't know, you just plan on a shorter time frame. If you know how long it's going to be, I would still encourage you to maybe go through the exercise of what you can do, and you just accepting that it's going to be really small. The steps are likely going to be a lot smaller than you want them to be, or than you comparing yourself to other people. Hello, Angela. Thanks for including your name, since I'm assuming your YouTube handle is not the name that you go to. Jennifer, what is everyone's favorite school supply they found in stores? This is a fun question. I saw Trapper Keepers are back. Did anyone have these in school? Also, Lisa Frank stickers. Oh my gosh, yes, all of these things. I also, which is so the opposite now, was always a pencil girl. Like, I wanted to do everything in pencil. I didn't want to do anything in pen. And so every year getting like new mechanical pencils that were a cute design. If should not surprise you that I wanted a thick lead. Like, I wanted it to be thick with good erasers, right? I was always really into like what my pencils looked like. And then also, probably shouldn't surprise you, is that I always wanted to color coordinate. So the folder, I would make these binders that I would put pictures on the outside of the binder, like of the last year or whatever. And then I would have a folder or dividers for each class, but then the color needed to match the notebook for the class, which also needed to match the book cover on the textbook for the class. A little extra. Jennifer, you could always ask people for topic suggestions and pull from that. Great idea. And maybe have 3 of the Wednesdays pre-planned and 1 as an open Q&A. That's a great idea. Yeah, I was thinking more like half and half, like half of it's pre-planned and half of it's Q&A, but maybe it's more like this, where it's, 3 and 1. And let's be honest, as with everything, I'm going to try something, I'm going to make a decision, and I might change my mind, and it might change. Post-it came out with a new line of planner supplies found on an end cap at Walmart. So there's like not a Walmart in the city, because I saw an Instagram story of these cute baby Halloween clothes at Walmart. Nightmare Before Christmas baby Halloween clothes. And I sent it to my mom and was like, I want to go. She was like, Walmarts are only in the suburbs. I was like, great, cool, thanks. So no Walmart shopping for me, unless we have to go to the burbs for something else. Shannon, welcome. I'm so glad that you're able to join live and check in. Any tips on turning your brain off? I'm going on a 2-week vacation and really need some no thinking time. Yeah, Stephanie, we talked a lot about rest, and by a lot about rest in May and June inside the community. And one of the things that we talked about a lot is that what people think of, most of us have trouble turning our brains off. And so what you think of as rest might not actually be rest for you. And what you need to do is find activities for you where you are probably doing something, but it means you're turning off your brain. And what are you turning your brain off of, right? Are you turning your brain off of work? Are you turning, now I'm assuming if you're going on vacation, that's what you're turning it off of. And so reading might be one of those activities. Physical activity might be one of those activities. Playing a game, something you just really like to do. Like for me, taking a dance class would be turning my brain off from all of the things in the outside world. And so it seems like those things are like, that's not really rest if you're taking a dance class, but it's mental rest. It is mentally turning off my brain. So I would try to brainstorm what are the activities that when you're doing them, and again, we're all different. For some people, watching TV is turning off their brain. That doesn't work for me. I still don't turn my brain off when I watch TV. So you're going to have to figure out what are the things that are specific to you that help you turn your brain off. Sorry, I like burped in the middle of that answer. The gas is just, I can't. So I'm thinking more setting annual or quarterly goals. With my fibromyalgia, I don't know when a fibro flare will hit or how long it will be. Okay, Nikki, I appreciate the clarification. My recommendation for you would be to just make them more vague, right? So when you're setting a quarterly or an annual goal, just keep it looser. Instead of saying like, I'm specifically going to read this many books, say I'm going to read more. Or instead of saying I am going to trying to think of another example. I'm going to declutter this much of my house, or I'm going to declutter my whole house. Say, I'm going to declutter something and make progress on it, right? Keeping it more vague. That way you can pick the action steps on shorter time frames based on how you're feeling and still be making progress towards those overarching quarterly or annual goals. As we talked about in the Facebook group yesterday, y'all, if you have not looked at a calendar, I know 2024 is really far away. Okay, I get it. So I'm not saying this to freak you out. And I happen to be already planning the new year because I know a lot of my planning time is going to be taken up in the fall. January, April, and July all Monday starts on the 1st. 3 of the 4 quarters next year, the Monday is the 1st, which is just going to be amazing. Oh, it's going to be so good. I work in education and just bought a new Trapper Keeper for the school year. They are definitely back. I love it. Graph and grid spiral notebooks for math notes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Once I transitioned to like a graph notebook for math, that was life-changing. Does anyone remember the pop-up pencils where the full barrel was also an eraser? Yes, but that eraser was not very good. But yes. And good eraser was a priority for me. This school supply combo is so fun. Retractable highlighters for all 3 of my kids and the 5-star heavyweight lined paper. I remember like trying to talk my mom into letting me buy the higher quality notebooks. Like the 5-star notebooks were like so much more expensive than like the generic brand of notebook, but like the paper was so much better. That's where my obsession with good paper started. Wendy, I appreciate you including your name. You've been around long enough that I do know your handle. So I do know your name. Just got back from a 3-week road trip and I didn't do any planning for August before I left. Totally fine. Can you discuss how you would approach goal setting when you are well into the month? Absolutely. So at this point, we're literally halfway into the month, like right now. So what I would do is I would pick one thing that you want to focus on. We definitely have a lot of time left so that I wouldn't say to just like wait until September because that also you won't have any momentum going into September. But I wouldn't try to both coming back from a long vacation as well as knowing that we have 2.5 weeks left. I would pick one thing that you want to focus on, that you want to make progress on. What are the small steps you can take on that one action area for the last 2 weeks of August? How far are you out of Aurora? Like an hour. I'm in the city, so it's pretty far. Yeah. There are Walmarts closer than that, but it's still out in the suburbs. So it's still not close. Yes, exactly, Shannon. I'm a math girl, so of course I loved pencils. Yeah. And I just still use pencils in all my other classes too. I never transitioned to pen. Oh, I want the mini garbage can that's at the dollar spot in Target, but my Target doesn't have it. I didn't even see it last time at ours. And our dollar spot is usually pretty good, but stuff goes fast. And I feel like they don't restock that stuff. Like if it's in the dollar spot, if I see something on social media that's like, this is in the dollar spot, if I go quickly, it's usually there. But if it's gone, like it's gone. Made it. Welcome, Monica. Drinking water and your win has been decluttering your office. I love it. Ooh, if you haven't seen transparent sticky notes, they are all of the rage for kids and teachers when working with text comprehension, even solving math problems. You know, it's funny. I have seen the transparent sticky notes, Shannon, but I don't know what I would use them for. I can see the benefits for school and learning. But for me, I'm like, what would I use this for? But does it mean I don't want them? No, I want them. I just don't know what I would do with them. But I'm getting so much better at not, guys, lost my train of thought. So much better at not buying all the things just because I want them without a plan of how I'm going to use them. Recommendation for Stephanie, asking about the vacation. Would it help to brain dump at the start of the day and write it down so you don't forget, and then set a reminder to review your to-dos after returning from vacation? That is a great, I don't know why it took me so much effort to read that comment, but that is a great suggestion for turning your brain off. Is when things pop into your brain, have a place to capture them and tell that list, I'll get back to you when vacation is over. That's a great idea. Math major in college, pencils are serious business. Yeah. None of the teachers were happy when colored notebook paper became the rage. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. What is everyone's favorite food meal delivery companies? I'm assuming you're asking for not a friend, given that cooking is going to be a little bit harder since you're not able to be on your feet. My hiccups. I am burping. I just cannot. Emily, do you mean like restaurants or do you mean like Home Chef, HelloFresh, those kinds of companies? Just want to clarify. Ashley, I went back to school shopping for my son. He's in 7th grade and I came back with all the matchy stuff. He said he didn't care, so I took full advantage. That's amazing. I can imagine that, like, boys just not as picky. Most boys anyways, not as picky about the supplies that they want. Whereas I cannot imagine having my mom go school supply shopping without me. Like, no way, Jose. Hello, how is your week going? Any wins that you have? My week is going well. I don't know if there's any specific wins that I have, just that I feel like I'm making progress. I feel like even though every day feels harder and I feel larger and more exhausted, I'm still like chugging through and making progress. And every day we're getting a little closer, just one step closer to there being a little baby. I love my transparent sticky notes. I use them in my Bible. Okay. I never thought about using them there. Options. Like HelloFresh. Okay. So Emily's question about mood feel. That's what I literally was just about to say instead of food meal. Y'all, maybe I should cut these lives off sooner because I clearly can't talk. Food meal delivery companies. If you have any thoughts or have used one, please share with Emily, whether you're here live or watching the replay. Emily, I would recommend coming back and checking the comments in a few days. What I have found is they are more expensive. Like, that is just, you have to accept that. It is going to be more expensive than going to the grocery store, even with inflation. Like, it's going to be more expensive. I also have found that if you just get the regular ones, like not the fast meals, not the pre-prepared meals, it's going to take you a long time. Their estimates are bad. Their estimates of how long things are going to take are very bad. So when it comes down to it, what I think they are beneficial for is it saves you on planning and shopping time. So if those are really important to you to minimize those things, it helps. It can save you on health, like having some kind of specific health, because you could get one, like there's specific non-dairy ones or gluten-free ones and things like that. And it can help picking recipes that fit within those parameters. But just like, be aware, I have found that their estimates are bad and they typically end up being pricier. I think my favorite when we were consistent with using one was Home Chef, but ultimately, I think it's tough. I've used Dinnerly and liked it a lot. Oh, this is, yeah, I'll try to leave names for a couple of channels that typically have codes. Yeah, definitely. If you're signing up for the first time, like with a fresh email, use a code. They all have codes. Googling YouTube channels to see what they have used and they would recommend, and just to get a feel for like what the vibe is of the company is great. They also have all expanded a lot, I think, since I used them, like the amount of things that they offer, the different types of meals, slow, fast, pre-prepared, any kind of health restrictions. There's a lot going on. I did HelloFresh as a one-off week. It was a fun novelty, but definitely not something we could do long-term financially. 5-person family, single income. The other big struggle is the count, right? How many people they serve. Most of them do 2 or 4, depending on your family size. That can be difficult. One of the things I always tried to do too was like split the portion. The portion sometimes felt huge, so I would split them in half and add like a vegetable or a side salad for dinner, and then would eat the other half for lunch. That helped in my experience, help cut the cost a little bit, but then also like cut the size. Jennifer, just getting on. Thought you wouldn't be on time today. You are here. Welcome. Smoothie to drink and got your son to the dentist for your win. I love that. That's a great win. Amazing. Some other suggestions other than meal delivery is doing grocery pickup instead of shopping in stores, shopping for frozen meals at a healthier grocery stores, and then making meals to have leftovers. Definitely some other good suggestions. Or even paying for grocery delivery, right? If you're going to pay extra because you're doing like a meal delivery service, maybe it's paying a little bit extra to get the groceries delivered so you don't have to do the shopping, but you do still have to do the meal planning as opposed to the, just clicking which ones you want. But yeah, we were getting it during COVID too, and they really expanded the menu offerings. Yeah, we did it a lot, especially in the summer when we were living down in Texas. We did it a lot then. Debbie, when I was in school, the school still provided notebook and pencils. I do remember my mom buying me a Trapper Keeper at some point. Who was I just watching? Oh, it may have been Sarah, where she talked about how her kids' school is supplying school supplies. Highly recommend grocery pickup if that's an option for you. That's how we've done it almost all of our grocery shopping. Yeah, I realize I've said this before. For most of you, grocery pickup is super feasible because you have a car. So you get in your car and you drive to your grocery store and it gets put in your trunk. As somebody who doesn't have a car, grocery pickup is just as annoying as having to go to the grocery store. So I might as well, if I'm not going to do the shopping, I'm going to pay to have it delivered. But that is city life without a car. My mom has a car. I have access to a car if I need one, but my regular life does not consist of a car, which I'm okay with. I don't like driving, and parking in the city is like almost just as expensive sometimes as an Uber is what I have found. Definitely more than a bus. Like if I can take the bus or the train somewhere, that's option number 1. But then even if I can't, like it, depending on where we're going, if you look at like how much you're going to pay for parking, sometimes it just makes more sense to Uber, which is so interesting. But what I told Sam is as long as our Uber and Subway, this is interesting. I was talking to somebody one-on-one about budgeting and like finance goals. And when we lived in New York, I had like public transit and Ubers, cabs. I feel like we use Uber now. It's like general. Really, it was cabs in New York. And then I actually typically go for a Lyft more often as 2 separate categories in our budget, because the way that I thought about like making a decision, staying within certain boundaries was different for those 2 things. Now I don't. I have it all under one category as transportation because there are just times that like the bus is not feasible. And so I'm just like, we're just going to Uber. And then my mindset is as long as that transportation category on a monthly basis is less than owning a car. And it is like not even close at this point, y'all, because we both work from home. And like, even if we go a lot of places, like it still doesn't even get close. As long as it's less than a car payment, insurance payment, and gas, then I don't feel like we need to buy a car. I live in a bedroom community 25 minutes outside of the city, so not having a vehicle would not work for us. Nikki, for most people, unless you live in the heart of New York, Chicago, maybe San Francisco, maybe LA, you pretty much have to have a car, I feel like. I don't know. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong. If there's another place in the US, in the world, 100%. Public transit in other parts of the world is a gazillion times better than what it is in the US. Man, being in England, being in China, like, I wish the US would get it together with their public transit. What's your secret to not buying all of the things without a plan? I don't do well with that. My kids benefit though because I pass what I don't use to them. Do you mean groceries, Debbie, or do you mean something else? What are the things that we're buying? What are we shopping for? Are we still talking about groceries? I guess is my question. Portland, Oregon. I was able to live with a car and get around. Okay, there we go. I think cities are getting better. But depending on where you live, like, do you live within walking distance of things that you need? Like, we could walk to anything that we could possibly need right now, like grocery stores. I mean, I even have a Target. It's a small city Target. Oh yeah, Washington D.C. Duh, Shannon. Thank you. Their public transit system is good. You could live there. You could live in the heart of D.C. and not need a car. You could get away with that. I don't know why I forgot about DC. Sam's actually going to DC soon for a work trip that I do not get to go on. I'm stuck here, which is fine. Kind of. I'm kind of sad. Kind of excited just to, like, I don't know, nest in the house by myself. But I actually think it's also, yeah, I guess it's going to be the first time I'm staying in this apartment by myself. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that. Oh yeah, Boston. That's probably true. I haven't spent a ton of time in Boston. What was the name of the color company you used? It was called Created Colorful. I actually don't know if this color was actually on my list, but I really like this color when I bought this sweatshirt. So I did it. I bought it and it was on sale. So, I feel like I have my results from my color. If you don't know what she's talking about, I got my colors done, which means I got like a list of the colors that look best with my skin tone. And I keep the picture of it favorited on my phone. And when I go to buy something, if there are multiple color options, I will pick up that I will open up the picture and look for the ones that are closest. I mean, I'm pretty good now about knowing what my colors tend to be. But I will reference it if they have options. And I definitely will reference it if I'm buying something that's more of an investment type of item. If I'm buying something that's more expensive, then I will reference my colors. If I'm buying a on sale maternity sweatshirt from Old Navy and I like the color, I'm just going to buy it. I'm not going to reference it. I've gotten asked before about how I utilize that information. How's your laundry routine going? Good. It's good. It worked. I don't do a load every day because we don't need it every day, but I didn't do that in New York either. But it's part of my morning routine. And if one of our baskets is full, or it feels like, we could do a load of towels or the bath mats. I said that out loud and realized I haven't washed Sam's bath mats since. That is one negative about having two separate bathrooms is I don't think about his bathroom. I don't think about it. It just hides in the corner and I don't look at it. And I don't think about it. His bath mats probably could use a wash. Sheets or whatever. I try to do one a day. See how that goes. We'll check back in with that question in a couple months once there's another human here who goes through things much faster than the two of us. How my laundry routine is going. But for now, it's working. For the two of us and our management, it's working. That's going to be the story of my life though, right? Everything I have now for the 2 adults in my house, it works. We'll see. We're going to see what I'm going to have to change, what I'm going to have to figure out. And I think laundry is just one of those things that I'm going to have to adjust once there's another human living in our house, which is so much closer than yeah, it's just close. I'm excited, but also like, oh my gosh, it's so close. What's the countdown? 37 days till my due date. Obviously, I know the probability of her actually showing up on her due date is not very high. So 37 days plus or minus some number of days, which is, again, both exciting and scary. I think I'm all caught up. Debbie, if you want to clarify what you're talking about here in terms of buying things, I would love to answer your question. I just don't know if you're talking about like groceries or the school supply conversation, or just like in general what we're referencing, because I feel like my suggestion will be different depending on what it is. Any other questions? Anything else that y'all want to chat about? How are things going? Like I said, we're halfway through August, which is, I feel, when I look at like my goals sheet for halfway through August, I feel good about it. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm making progress. But then I'm also like, we're halfway through August. That means next month is baby month. So that's kind of scary. There's so many people. Are you ready for college football season? Oh, Shannon, I am more than ready. The like pre-release of the rankings came out this week. So Sam and I were literally laying in bed last night looking at college football rankings and talking about how, as always, Texas is ridiculously overranked, in my opinion. Yeah, they may be really good this year, or they may not. As long as our quarterback stays healthy, he's fantastic. He went down in game 2 last season, so that did not go well. And I think people are forgetting that we lost our number 1 and 2 running backs to the NFL. And so I just can't, like, I'm like, we're going to have to, like, I don't know. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited. I'm trying to get, I was just telling somebody this the other day, in terms of like, and then what's funny, there's another question about the Cowboys. I am trying to get all the like physical types of things done in, for the baby and whatnot. That way I can just like sit and watch football. Like once football season starts, I want to guilt-free on Saturdays and Sundays, just sit and watch football, whether that's me being astronomically pregnant, watching football, and then rolling right into baby snuggles, sitting on the couch watching football. I'm so excited. I actually think it's like the whole fall baby thing is a good fit for me. So I'm very much excited. The Cowboys, kind of the same story. We lost some big people. So I'm kind of nervous about what that looks like. I feel like UT and the Cowboys the last couple of years, it's the same story. They are both good enough. They're not the best in whatever we're comparing to the best, right? But they're not bad so that I could just like write off the season, right? Like there's something that could happen and it could be exciting, but it also could be disappointing. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. I'm just excited for football though. What's the colorful book behind you? This one? Is that what you're talking about, Kayla? Did you say your new planner will be available in different sizes? When will you release them? Not in different sizes, Monique. I'm sorry if that comment, I left a comment in the Facebook group, the community Facebook group last night that may have been a little misleading. I said 4 versions, but not 4 different sizes. The sizing is very tough. And I am not confident enough yet to commit to saying, like, if you print this in a certain size, it's going to be absolutely perfect. Besides 8.5 by 11. I do know that a lot of people have figured out the conversions for like an A5. I think it's Linda posted it in the Facebook group. I think it's 72%. If you print at 72%, that gets you an A5. Obviously, a half letter is just like 2 per page. So I do not plan to release it in different sizes. In terms of timing, the Q4 will, I literally spent most of last night working on it. I literally just printed out the version that I'm going to go through and make sure it's like looks good. So Q4, but I mean, we have plenty of time till Q4. It's going to be up any minute. And then Q1 2024 will be up my goal is by September 1st. I'm not planning to do any project-based work, only like lives and calls. So it'll be up. I don't know, you need to get it that soon, but it will exist. You use 72% for A5. Okay. Yeah. Yes. That is the planner that I did with Kit Life. So it's the design that I collabed with them on. The glare, you can't see it at all, but it's the actual planner that I did with Kit Life. Jennifer, football. Okay. Let's go back to school supplies. Any thoughts on UW and OSU joining Big Ten? In general, the moving of schools and conferences is getting out of hand, and Texas is part of this problem. It's getting out of hand. We're getting to the point that it should just be like two big conferences at this point, like the NFL. It's just getting kind of bananas, and then people having to fly. It's kind of, I don't know. I'm not here for it. I don't know what the solution is. I don't have the answer, but it is kind of overwhelming. And then I forget who's where at this point. But next season is going to be weird. Ideas for prepping for a new season of life in terms of goals. That's a great question, Kayla. I would recommend that you take some time to just think about what this new season of life, what you would like it to look like. Like, what is the ideal state for this new season? And remind yourself that just because goals looked a certain way or worked a certain way for you in the past doesn't mean that they're going to in this new season. But you also aren't going to know until you start working on it. So it's going to be a little bit more trial and error than you've done in the past, which likely means your progress is going to be slower. So just being open to that and being okay with it. And knowing that you are in a transition, right? Any new season, positive or negative, comes with a transition, and transition comes with all of its own challenges, goals aside, again, both positive and negative, that if goals have to take a back seat, that's okay. The school supplies, planner supplies, etc. Okay. So Debbie's question, to scroll back, was, what's the secret to not buying all the things without a plan? Everybody's different, and I'm not doing a lot of school supply shopping right now. So that one is not really a struggle for me. For me, in terms of planner supplies, it's really more, I think about a need, and then I look for a product that fills that need instead of looking at a product and trying to see how I could get it at this point, or trying to see how I could fit it into my life. It took me a long time to get there though, like a long time. So it's not something I just like figured out overnight. And moving a couple of times in the last couple of years has really helped also me just be like, I don't want to own all the things. Like I don't have space for all the things. I'm never going to use it all, and I don't want to use it. I've been watching yours since his South Lake days. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. He is great. My only other fear, to get real specific about UT that other people may not appreciate, I just hope we don't have this like conflict butting heads with the starting quarterbacks. I just hope that yours this is his season. He gets to start. It's his team. He can own it. And Archie can play backup. He can sit on the bench. He can play if we're winning by a lot, or if something happens to Quinn. But otherwise, I don't want them to have this like conflict of like, well, he's a Manning, and so he deserves to start. Like, he's a baby. Give him a season to like learn, and then he can start. So that's my my one fear about the quarterback situation going on at UT. How many baby UT onesies do you have? She needs a helmet and a football pillow, blanket bottle, etc. I have way more than I could possibly need. That's not true. I mean, she's still gonna have to repeat outfits, but way more than I probably really need. But I also have some that are for next season. Like some of the ones I've been gifted are like 12-month onesies. So she's not, and some of them actually were 6-month, which I'm a little bit like basketball season, I guess. So in terms of like actual newborn size stuff, it's not a ton. There's not a ton going into it. And then she also has her big Bevo stuffy that I got at Costco. It looks like a Squishmallow, Squish pillow. What is that brand? I don't know if it's the actual brand. Also, it's because it's from Costco. Squish. I think it's a Squishmallow. I don't know. Whatever. And it's not actually Bevo, right? It's a cow that they had at Costco, but it looks like Bevo. So she is that. Yeah. Every time I want to buy something burnt orange, my mom makes this comment. She's like, she has too much. I'm like, get out of here. No, she doesn't. I just bought her a burnt orange sweater from Target. Again, but I bought a 12-month one. It's for next season. Next season. Not this season. But she also has Cowboys stuff ready to go. She also has Spurs stuff ready to go. So that should be exciting. Those are her teams. She's mommy's girl in terms of sports. So any other questions? Maybe about football. We can keep talking football. I'm happy to talk about it. Or baby or school supplies. I like all those conversations. My PT was kind of impressed. Not impressed. That's not the right word. What did he say the other day? Because we talked a lot about sports, a lot about sports. And then the other day we started talking about Broadway, and I just said, like, I was rattling things off, and he was like, "Wait, how do you know so much about sports, but also so much about Broadway?" And I was like, "Yes, multi-passionate over here. I do like both of those things a lot, and I understand that they are somewhat in conflict, but." Not in conflict, but just not as common that somebody's into both. So he thought it was funny. But yes, I am ready just to watch football, even if my teams aren't good. It's hard because I feel like I've said this before. I'm not a baseball fan. It's just never been a sport that I liked. Just not a big fan. And so this gap between the end of basketball season and the start of football season is always just kind of like, for me, I'm like, what sports do I watch? Usually 3 out of 4 years, there is something to fill that gap. It is either the Men's World Cup, the Women's World Cup, or the Olympics. Well, last year, the Men's World Cup decided it needed to be in November. And so it's like, so I didn't have anything. And then this year is the Women's World Cup. And partially a little bit bummed that the US is already out, but then also the games are like 4 a.m. So it's not filling that gap for me this year. So I'm like, okay, it's time for football. Oh my gosh. If you had to pick attending a Broadway show or a football game, what would you choose? If it was my team, I'm going to pick football. If it's any other team, I'm going to pick the Broadway show. That's my answer. There is nothing like being in the stadium for your own team. So, yeah. That's a good question, though. I do love it, but I mean, it's hard. All right, y'all. We are almost out of time. Another very kind of all over the place chat, but I feel like there were also some really awesome takeaways. Thank you for asking great questions all the time. Before we head out, I am going to ask you my last question, which is, what is one thing that you are going to do this week to make progress on your goals? What is one small step that you can take to make progress? You know that small progress is still progress. What is the one step that you can take this week, that you're going to take this week? Brianna, Broadway, always Broadway. Speaking as someone who only watches Florida hockey, football is the exception, but the only soccer I watch is the Women's Cup The US Sweden game was nerve-wracking. It was. And, sad for those of us in the US. But yeah, it is hard right now. Maybe the hours are better for you, Aki, the world. No, because if they're at like 4 a.m. my time, I guess they're probably like 10 p.m. your time, which is just as bad. I don't know. Baby girl needs earmuffs for watching football with y'all. No, she probably does. And it's not a y'all. Sam rarely yells at the TV. It's a me problem. All right. Some of the small steps, figure out what you can do. Yes, Emily, focusing on the can. What are the small steps that you can take while you're still healing? Continue using your alarm for your evening task. Finish one more book. I love it. Love hearing about all of your small steps. And if you are watching the replay and you're still here, let us know down in the chat. Shifting and getting down in the chat, down in the comments. Shifting and getting in a rhythm with a new morning routine. Sit down and plan out the rest of August and plan time for rest and recovery from your trip. Yeah, getting back into life, Wendy, could be the goal that you focus on in August, right? Just getting back to things. Oh, around 9:30. Okay. That's so late. I could probably deal with 9:30 more than 4:30. Going to give myself grace as this is the week before classes start and the busiest work season. Yeah. Ebbs and flows, right? We talk about like the progress every week, every month is going to look different based on what else is going on in your life. So don't put all that pressure on yourself that your progress needs to look the same every single day. Getting my substitute teacher application turned in. Congrats. That is so exciting. I love that step. That is awesome. All right, y'all. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you wouldn't mind giving this video a thumbs up before you head out, I would appreciate that. And if you're new here, click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every week focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out today. Have a great rest of your day.